Your salary dropped last night. You felt it for about 4 seconds. Then your phone started buzzing. Not notifications. Not congratulations. Requests. By the time you finished breakfast, you had already mentally sent out a quarter of what you just received, and nobody had even said, please yet. This is the family tax. And it is the most expensive bill you will ever pay because it never appears on any budget, it never comes with a receipt, and refusing it can feel like a betrayal of everything your parents sacrificed to raise you. But here is what nobody is saying out loud. The family tax is quietly destroying the financial futures of millions of young Africans. Not because family is bad, not because love is a burden, but because nobody taught us how to carry both love and money at the same time. So we default to guilt. And guilt is the most expensive financial advisor on the continent. Think about Marcus, 32 years old, warehouse operative in Birmingham, earns a decent wage by UK standards, just over £2,000 a month after tax. He sends $300 home every single month without fail. His mum needs it for food and utilities. His younger brother is in university. His auntie had a health scare last year and he covered the hospital bill. He has not missed a single month in 4 years. 4 years. That is over £14,000 out of Marcus's pocket. And Marcus has exactly $180 in savings. Not $18,000. Not £1,800. £180. Marcus is one bad month away from crisis, and from Lagos, nobody can see that. This is not a story about Marcus being irresponsible. Marcus is one of the most responsible people in his entire family. That is exactly the problem. When you are the one who made it, the one who got the job, the one who crossed the border, the one who passed the exams, the invisible contract activates. Nobody signs it. Nobody negotiates the terms. It just exists. And the terms are simple. You earn. You share. You do not complain. A 2022 report from the World Bank estimated that remittances to sub-Saharan Africa exceeded $50 billion annually. But here is the number they did not put in the headline. A significant portion of that money comes not from wealthy African business owners or executives. It comes from ordinary young Africans on modest incomes, people like Marcus, like Brian, like Aisha, stretching salaries that were never designed to support 2 households across 2 continents. Brian knows this stretch. 30 years old. Call center supervisor in Nairobi. Earns KES $45,000 a month. His rent is KE is $14,000. Transport and food take another KES $9,000. He sends KES $8,000 home to Shags every month for his mother and his 2 younger sisters. That leaves him KES $14,000 for everything else: emergencies, clothing, phone bills, social obligations, and anything resembling a financial future. He has tried to open a savings account 3 times. He closes it within 2 months every time because something always comes up. Something always comes up because the margins are too thin. The margins are too thin because the family tax is calculated not on what Brian can afford, but on what Brian's family needs. Do you see the trap? The family tax is not a fixed amount. It is a floating obligation that rises to meet need, not income. And need in an African family is elastic. It can always expand, which means the tax can always grow, which means your savings can always shrink. And the cruelest part? The people asking are not villains. Your mother is not manipulating you. Your brother genuinely needs school fees. Your cousin's wedding is a real event with real social consequences if you do not contribute. These are real people with real needs, and you love them. That love is not the problem. The problem is that love without a financial structure becomes a system of permanent extraction, slow, invisible, and almost impossible to name without sounding ungrateful. So you stay quiet. You send the money. You smile in the family WhatsApp group. And privately, at the end of the month, you stare at your account balance with a specific kind of exhaustion that has no name in any language you were raised in. I know this because I lived it. I remember the month I got a pay increase and felt genuinely excited for about 48 hours before someone in my family discovered it. I still do not know how. And suddenly, the amount I was sending home needed to adjust accordingly. My salary went up. My savings did not move. The family tax had automatically recalibrated. Nobody taught me that I was allowed to have a boundary. Nobody told me that loving my family and protecting my financial future were not mutually exclusive. I had to learn that on my own, the expensive way. Here is what I learned. You cannot eliminate the family tax. You should not try. Family is not a liability. Community is not a weakness, but you can restructure how it functions so that it supports your people without dismantling you. The tool for this is called the boundary budget. The boundary budget is not a limit on your love. It is a declaration of your capacity. It is a number, a real, fixed number that represents the maximum amount you can give to family obligations every single month without compromising your own financial survival. Not your comfort, your survival. Your rent, your food, your transport, your emergency fund, your future. Everything else that remains after these are covered becomes the boundary budget. And that number, whatever it is what you give. Not more. Not when someone cries. Not when the guilt comes. That number. Here is how you calculate it. Take your monthly take-home. For Chidi in Lagos, that is NGN 120,000. Subtract your fixed non-negotiables, rent, food, transport, utilities, phone. For Chidi, that is roughly NGN 75,000. What remains is NGN 45,000. From that NGN 45,000, Chidi allocates his boundary budget, let us say NGN 15,000 for family obligations. That is real money. That is generous money. That also leaves Chidi with NGN 30,000 to build savings, handle emergencies, and invest in something that will compound over time. The boundary budget does not make Chidi selfish. It makes Chidi sustainable. Now, here is the part that feels hardest. You have to say the number out loud. Not in a fight, not as an ultimatum, but as a calm, clear, adult communication. Something like, I can support us with this amount every month. I am giving it consistently, and I will not miss a month. But I cannot give more than this right now, because I am also building something that will benefit this family for the next 20 years. That last part matters. When your family understands that your financial stability is not separate from their well-being, that your emergency fund is the buffer between them and a crisis they cannot see yet, the conversation changes. You are not withholding. You are investing in your capacity to help them long-term. Aisha in London understood this. She sat down with her mother on a video call, not during a moment of conflict, but deliberately, calmly, on a Sunday afternoon. She explained her salary. She showed, not in detail but clearly, what her expenses were in London. She named the boundary budget, $200 a month, and committed to it without apology. Her mother was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I did not know it was that tight. Aisha had spent 3 years assuming her mother knew. Her mother had spent 3 years assuming Aisha had more than she did. The silence between them had cost Aisha thousands of pounds and her mother weeks of unnecessary worry. The conversation is the first act of building your boundary budget. The second act is the structure. Once you name your number, automate it. Set a standing order, a scheduled Momo transfer, a recurring Wise payment, whatever the mechanism is, make it automatic and make it move on the first of every month. Before you touch anything else. Not because your family comes first in a romantic sense, but because automatic transfers remove decision fatigue and guilt from the equation. The money goes. You do not negotiate it with yourself every month. You do not feel it leaving because it was never in your spending account to begin with. And your family receives it on a predictable schedule, which over time actually reduces the emergency requests because they can plan around a reliable amount. The third act is the emergency protocol. This is the step most people miss. Emergency requests will still come. Your uncle will still have a situation. Your sister's car will still break down. And your boundary budget will feel like a wall you cannot climb when those calls arrive. So build a separate emergency family fund, small, realistic, not heroic. Even NGN 5,000 a month, even KES 2,000 a month into a Cowrywise target savings or an M-Pesa lock savings, something that accumulates over time as your designated family emergency reserve. When the call comes, you do not drain your personal emergency fund. You do not borrow. You check the family emergency reserve. If it covers it, you help. If it does not, you say with genuine calm, I have what I have set aside for exactly this. I can give you this amount right now. And that is the full sentence. You are not abandoning anyone. You are ending the system where your financial survival is always the last thing on the list. Here is the truth about the family tax that nobody talks about. It is not just a money problem. It is a time problem. Every naira, every shilling, every CD you send before you have built your own foundation is a unit of time stolen from the future version of you that could support your family 10 times more effectively. The Marcus who sends $300 a month for 20 years ends the journey with almost nothing. The Marcus who restructures to $150 a month and invests the other $150 ends the journey with a property, a pension, an inheritance, and the actual capacity to transform his family's financial position in a way that a monthly transfer never could. The family tax, unmanaged, buys your family groceries today and robs them of a financial legacy tomorrow. The boundary budget buys your family stability today and builds toward the wealth that changes their story permanently. Your salary dropped last night. You felt it for about 4 seconds. This time, before your phone started buzzing, you already knew your number. You already sent your amount. And what remains is yours, not selfishly, not shamefully, but strategically, because you finally understood that protecting your future is the most generous thing you can do for the people you love.